Steve Bannon was speaking at the New York Young Republicans Club, and he was talking with Mike Davis, who was at one time a contender for Attorney General, about Donald Trump and what's going to happen in 2028. Now, I've said repeatedly, I don't think Donald Trump makes it to 2028, whether that's his health that gets him, whether Republicans are left with no choice but to impeach and remove him because he is hurting them and their party and this country that bad, or if his health deteriorates to a point where J.D. Vance has to use the 25th Amendment. I just don't see Donald Trump surviving 4 years as president. But that aside, Steve Bannon was talking about 2028 and Donald Trump and said, well, yeah, Donald Trump should run in 2028. Well, the Constitution only says can't be elected more than twice. Well, this wouldn't be consecutive, so clearly he can run again. And that's not the case, okay? The amendment clearly says, the 22nd Amendment clearly says, no person shall be elected to the president more than twice. If they meant consecutive, they would have said consecutive. Why? Because by that point, going back to the late 1800s, Grover Cleveland had already ran and been elected to 2 non-consecutive terms. And you had had Teddy Roosevelt in the early 20th century, in the early 1900s, he had been president twice and then ran for a non-consecutive term, making a good showing as part of the Bull Moose Party, but ultimately losing, and that's how Woodrow Wilson became president. But anyway, they had already had examples of people running successful campaigns for non-consecutive terms, and one example of somebody running and winning non-consecutive terms. So to say that the 22nd Amendment means that they have to be consecutive, they would have included it if that's what they meant. They said more than twice. Period. Now, the 22nd Amendment came out because of FDR having ran and successfully winning 4 terms. They wanted some kind of limit on the length of time a president could be president, and that's what they went with. So Steve Bannon is obviously wrong, and of course he's trying to rile up the MAGA base and young Republicans about this idea of Trump running again as some kind of unstoppable Republican figure. And that's just not the case. Now, if they do try it, there would be a court case, obviously, and it would get tossed almost immediately. Like his attempt would get tossed because clearly this is what the Constitution says. And like I said, I don't think he lives long enough or survives into the ability to run in 2028. Now, I could be wrong, but it doesn't seem like his health is in the best condition, just because of how he talks and his diet, his physical shape, and he's also 78 years old. He'll be 82 by the end of his term. That is, getting up there in years. So there is a chance he does not make it. And this could all be moot anyway. But, yeah, Steve Bannon is floating the idea already, but it's really nothing. It's just trying to stir the pot, essentially.